Hi everyone, it's Nicole, and I have another layout using the February Scraptastic kit. This is the 27th layout using this kit. It took me 54 minutes, and now I'm basically down to like little scraps, and I'm trying to use as many as I could. I actually ended up getting a 28th layout out of this. I've already done the Killikit video, and next I'm going to do the paper selection for the next kit. So by next week, I'll be uploading videos from the new kit. Going to start scrapping with it today, actually. And so I'm trying to get a little bit ahead. There was a big die cut that came, I believe it was from Ellie Studio, and I had it in a different little plastic bag, and I kind of forgot about it. So I spotted it in my stuff, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't use that. I need to use it. So I decided to use it on this layout. And this page is going to be a coordinating page for the layout that I just did a few layouts ago. It was one where I cut out all the speech bubbles, and it was about my son when we had gone camping. He had picked all the leaves out of the pool, and he had gotten a certificate, and then he could take it and cash it at their store. He could pick out of a treasure box. So I just wanted a close-up of that, what it actually said on the little certificate, and how I made it so that the two pages kind of coordinate. I had one speech bubble left, and it said great, like the shorthand version of it, I guess, how teenagers type. And so that's going to be part of my title. I'm just going to put your on top of that, and you're great. And I'm using the pattern papers in the sizes that were left. And I love getting at the end of the kit and using, the scraps in the sizes that they are. And to tell you the truth, like if I wouldn't have done layout 28 and 29, those scraps would have been thrown out because they're just too little to keep. And if you've been scrapbooking for any amount of time, if you keep all those little scraps, I mean, your room would be just a mess because you'd have all these little pieces of everything. So, what I love about scrapbooking with a kit is I start with an X amount of supplies. I scrap until I find I have exhausted those supplies, and I was going to say almost to the point that I'm sick of them. I don't know if you can say, if I could say I'm sick of them, but it's more I'm done with it. I'm just, probably if I put it away for a while, I'd be okay scrapping with it again. But by the time I'm done, there isn't that many pattern papers. There is quite a few die cuts left, but that I'll just put in my stash and use it throughout with, when I do other layouts. So at this point, a few layouts back, I had taken some washi tape and put in some cardstock, and I always keep it. And normally I would have punched it out already, but that day I don't know why I didn't. So I just punched out the butterflies that I thought that I would need. I had cut one of those chevron arrows. It was that pattern paper. I had cut it in half to try to use it on a past layout, and I didn't do it. So I'm going to use it on this layout. I'm going to put a strip at the bottom of the page, a strip at the bottom and top of the page. And again, when I use cardstock, I like to do that to kind of say, it sort of frames the layout and says, okay, the layout starts here and it ends here. And now I'm just, playing with how I think I want the butterflies to sort of land on the page. For a while, I was on a kick that I was using butterflies all the time. And then I do that. I'll say, oh my goodness, like every layout has butterflies. So then I stop using them. And then I'll go months without, instead of just using them sometimes, I won't use them at all. So I noticed that I hadn't used them a little bit for a few months, I would say. So with this kit, I tried to use butterflies a few times just to try to, bring them back kind of thing. Because I do love them. I love butterflies on a page. If you don't know, what to add to a page, butterflies, it just goes with everything. And there I just showed you that I got some of these new blending tools from Rangers, or the mini daubers or mini inkers. And I have one more haul to do, because on my Facebook group, the challenge this month is, as a group, we need to do, in one spot I had put 250, in the other spot I put 300, because at the last minute I decided to make it 300, because when I looked at how many people I have subscribed to my Facebook challenge, I'm like, oh, we can do 300, but I forgot to change it in one spot. So one spot says 250, the other one says 300. And also to go on a scrapbooking spending freeze, so that if we as a group complete 300 layouts, or between 250 and 300 layouts, can you imagine all the older supplies that we'll be using from our stash? And a few people, were concerned, what about our subscription kits and all that? That doesn't count, because I would never tell someone not to keep your commitment to something. You know what I mean? So, but I had already ordered that order from Simon Says Stamps, and where I live, it takes forever to get stuff. Although this only took like 3 weeks, which isn't too bad. But so I'll be doing the scrapbook haul for that today, probably. So when you say that I was down to my scraps, I mean down to my scraps. That those hexagons that I just added to the layout, to the four corners, that literally was little squares of papers, and there one just came off. I'm going to put it back on, add a little bit more ETG tape, and I'm going to glue everything down. So it feels good to use pieces of papers like that that would have ended up in the trash otherwise. And like I said, I've already done my Kill-A-Kit video, and so that should be up like Wednesday, I would say. And then Thursday, the paper selection should be up, and then after that, Friday, pages from the new kit will start uploading. Now I start gluing all my layers down, including the strips at the top and the bottom of the layout. And like I said, this is where I'm going to do my title. I just used some Kelly Perky letters in red, and I just glued them directly on the speech bubble. And I'm going to fuss quite a bit with those butterflies. I'm just trying to make them look so that I didn't purposely put them in the order that they're in. It's just like a flutter of butterfly that are kind of lifting and going across the page. And it's sometimes kind of hard to make something purposely look kind of random. At this point, I'm going to outline all the papers, and I had inked the edges with some Cup of Joe ink, and that's a brown ink, so I'm going to use my brown marker to outline everything. A lot of times I'll use my black marker, but where this was a craft background, I inked the edges with brown. I'm also going to use a brown marker to outline. And now I'm going to put down the title. It's going to take me a few minutes because I'm going to have to move it over because it's too over to the left. So I'm going to move it over. And then that pattern paper that had rows of chevron, I just kind of made my own arrows. I made 3 of them in 3 different sizes, and I'm going to put them different spots on the layout, kind of all pointing towards the middle of the layout, towards the photo, I guess. And that one, it probably would have looked better technically if it was closer to the layout, but then my triangle would have been kind of really close. So I'm going to put it kind of down on the layout, but then I'm going to do a cluster on top of that arrow. So then it looks like it was like I meant for it to be there so that I had room for the cluster. So now I'm going to use my quick dry adhesive and I glued down all the butterflies. I also put some stamping dimensional behind the wings of all the butterflies. And then I just used my marker to do the little trails of the butterfly. And I had a question on my last layout about what was the name of the markers. They're from Stedler. They're called Tri Plus Fine Liner. And I got them at Staples, but I saw them at Michael's, so you can use your coupon on them. And there is 10 different colors in the package, and the size is 0.3 millimeters, and they're awesome. They write really well, and I like how they feel in your hand. You know, they're called Tri Plus, and it's because the marker itself has like a triangle look to them, so they feel good in your hands as you're writing with them. So now I went through my kit and I hadn't used any of those stars that came in the kit. And there was only 3 that came in the kit, so I'm going to use them on this layout. And there was also some little die cuts of stars, so I'm going to use those also. And I'm going to make little clusters around all those arrows that I made with the pattern paper. And now I found, and this was, I found it in one of my, I was looking for something else, and I found this roller date stamp. And it's from 7 Gypsies, and it must be, I don't know, 15 years old, 12 years old. Anyway, it's awesome. It has all kinds of words. So this one, there was one word that said evidence. So I thought that was kind of cute. It kind of went with the theme of the layout, you know. I had evidence that he had done something good. So I stamped it in 3 different spots on the layout using my Cup of Joe ink. And now I took out a couple Mr. Huey and some glimmer glaze, a brown glimmer glaze. I don't think I have a brown Mr. Huey. I never did buy the pony one and the color pony. And so I'm going to have to, once this spending freeze is done, my next order at Simon Says Stamps, I'll have to order a brown Mr. Huey. And somebody asked how I did my little lasso. Basically, just cut a piece of twine out, put 2 fingers together like your index and your middle finger. Take the twine, wrap it around your fingers, maybe 2 or 3 times, and then put the end of one side inside like you were going to tie a knot. And then what I do is I just kind of hold it in between my fingers and then just kind of tighten the knot, so that it just closes around your fingers, and then it makes that loop. And then I just glue it down with my Scotch quick dry adhesive. And now I'm going to show you quite a few close-ups of each of the clusters in different angles. And I think the battery had died, and again, I'm trying to get through this kit so that I can start some other kits. So I did add some enamel dots in blue, yellow, and red. And I think that was the only thing that the recording missed. So that's it. The page is done. So thanks for watching. Bye.